Your day there doesn't normally start out as magical, despite the location and its promises. If you're a parent, it starts out as stressed and hungry and too early, but it will all be worth it, you tell yourself. And it is worth it. Disney is a pretty magical place. For not the first time, our family went to Disneyland a few months ago. And before I go on, this is not an advertisement for Disney. I'm sure someday they will want to advertise with us. So be sure to listen to this episode, share it with all your friends so we can increase our listenership and secure big advertising deals like companies with Disney sometime very soon in the future. But back to my point. Disney is as holy a place as any if you're looking for the holiness. Disney is not about rides or commercialism. I mean, it is, but look deeper. It's about togetherness. It's about joy. It's about the fullness of life. It's about dreams fulfilled. It's about diversity and shared humanity. It's imperfectly about those last two things, but it's all in there if you look close enough. It's not about a mouse. It's not about Space Mountain or the Haunted Mansion or the castle or the characters. It's about togetherness. It's about eternal happiness. It's funny. The days that we're there always start with grumpy kids. And admittedly, they are probably grumpy because their dad is rushing them out of the hotel room to beat traffic and beat the lines and just hurry up and get dressed. But for us, when we get there, it shifts pretty quickly into a family sharing moments they will literally talk about for the rest of their lives. I love how at Disney folks gather from all over the world. They don't come to worship a mouse. They come to find the divine in each other's smiles. Isn't it wild how we've built these shrines to togetherness in an effort to manufacture sacred connection? We will spend hundreds of dollars as families to have just one day at one of these soaring and magnificent cathedrals of connection. Theme parks are just exaggerated human interactions, nothing more. Just like churches, beautiful, complicated, imperfect exaggerations of human interactions. This reminds me of things like church camps and retreat centers, these places that we've designed to escape the normal pace of our normal lives, to retreat to a quiet place in the woods and connect with each other on deeper levels. We humans crave connection so much, and we've designed our normal world to be so busy, so noisy, and so disconnected from the sacred feeling of oneness we crave and the being with God that we long for, that we had to build the camps and retreat centers, these whole separate manufactured worlds, so that we can feel the togetherness that we know is divine. When I was in college, I was in a fraternity, and I tell stories about this experience pretty often because it was so formative for me. I didn't love it because of the Saturday night, scene. No, I loved it for things like chapter retreats that we would do. Like once a semester or so, we'd all head up to a cabin up north in Michigan, a tiny little cabin we'd borrow from some guy's family, and 40 or so guys would be up there, and we'd pack in real tight there together. And we'd goof around on these retreats and be idiot college guys, of course, but we'd also do these beautiful little moments of, realness. We'd pass a candle and talk late at night, or we'd sit around a campfire and share dreams or fears or stories that shaped us. We'd intentionally manufacture sacred moments because even as a group of goofy college guys, we understood how important that kind of connection is. Those retreats were some of the first legitimately sacred experiences I had in my life. That feeling of raw togetherness, that feeling of vulnerable, pure, real, concentrated friendship. I'll be honest, I think I've spent most of my life and my career trying to reproduce that feeling as many times as possible. And so I guess whether it's a theme park like Disneyland, a cabin on a lake up north in Michigan, a religious camp, or a retreat center, or your local place of worship, I want to offer that it's helpful to notice how much money and effort we humans spend trying to build worlds for ourselves to truly connect. We are so desperate for deep human connection. And our normal daily lives that we've designed are so devoid of it. that we make these manufactured spaces to try to fill our souls as much as we can within the space of however many vacation days we have. These places are monuments to our separation from each other and therefore our separation from God. I want to offer that I believe we can create the connection we need and desire with each other and therefore with God in our daily lives, in our work, in school, and family lives. We can make some simple edits to the design of our life to feel the sacred connection our spirits are desperate for. That's what I hope we can learn together through this podcast and through everything we're trying to do here at Between. Meanwhile, I'm not going to stop going to Disney or retreating to the woods with friends because I love the intensity of those doses of divinity. I love the furnace blast of warmth and love I get when I'm with people I care about in those places. But I'm going to try to find more magical moments in my kitchen too. And I'm going to try to make more campfire conversations happen when I'm at lunch with someone. And I'm going to try to facilitate more deep conversations with strangers I meet at coffee shops. Because I don't want the only time I feel like I'm communing with God to be when I'm sitting silently in a pew at church. And I don't want to feel like the only time I'm happy is when I drop $200 per person on a ticket to feel it. Hey, this was just a fun little bonus episode of the Between podcast. I hope you are soaking in the conversations we're having with all of our guests. I am so grateful that gosh, these guests have said yes when I've sent them a little note and said, hey, I love the stuff that you're doing. I love the way that you think. I love the books that you wrote or the things that I see on social media. Would you be willing to jump on a recording with me and let me share it with the world? And they've said yes. I mean, how wonderful is that? It makes me think there might be people in your life that are just waiting for you to reach out to them and ask, hey, can we have a real conversation? I'll tell you what, it works for me. If you got to start a podcast to have sacred conversations, do it because it is worth it. These sacred conversations fill me. This podcast, the experience I've had already building this podcast and more so building this entire Between community and project, this global digital faith community, this inclusive faith community that is all about helping people find new ways to use their own faith, their own beliefs to create more moments of sacred human connection in their lives. Man, what a gift it has been. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode, and I really hope you're enjoying all the other episodes of the Between podcast. Please share this stuff with your friends. Give us some reviews on wherever you listen to podcasts. 5 stars sure do help. But I don't know, I guess all the stars are good. Man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening. Thanks for taking some real time to be with me and with our guests and with the Between community. Hey, thanks to all you Betweeners out there for listening to this episode of the Between podcast. Make sure you visit between.church on the internet to sign up for our mailing list. That's probably the most important thing, our email list. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. You can check out our 5-minute sermons, 5-ish minute sermons that we post every week. Follow us on social media. We got daily prayers. We got all sorts of other content. And join our community fully. We invite everyone. You are welcome here, no matter who you are or where you're from, no matter what you believe or even if you believe, no matter who you love or how you love, no matter what anybody else has ever told you about you. You are welcome and loved and celebrated here at Between. You know, my favorite church is the space between people. Now go with God's love and create the church between.